Ambassador Chen tied with her middle finger raised toward the delegation of Exani representatives. The plasma burst that incinerated her left arm also seared through her chest, but somehow she remained standing for several impossible seconds, her final gesture of defiance broadcast across thousands of worlds. End transmission. Grand Arbiter Vox Nally ordered, mandibles clicking in agitation. The humans have clearly made their decision. The emergency session of the Galactic Forum erupted into chaos. 217 species, once united in governance of known space, now faced unprecedented crisis. Humanity, the youngest and most volatile member race, had just declared its independence from the Forum in the most dramatic way possible. Commander Eliza Drake watched the footage loop for the 10th time in the cramped officers' quarters of the UES Thermopylae. Chen's final act of defiance brought a grim smile to Drake's face. "They didn't expect that," Lieutenant Sorensen muttered beside her. "They never do," Drake replied. "That's our advantage." The ship's eye chimed. "Commander, encrypted transmission from Admiral Yamamoto." The Admiral's weathered face appeared on screen. "Drake," it started. "The Exani have deployed their dreadnoughts to Earth's orbital defense grid. Chen's assassination was the pretext they needed. Casualties. Jakarta outpost is gone. 8 million civilians." Yamamoto's voice remained steady, but Drake noted the slight tremor in his hands. The Forum voted 300 to 17 in favor of human containment. Containment. Sorensen spat. "That's genocide." "It's been coming for decades," Drake said. "The day we developed quantum tunneling and outpaced their ships. The day we started mining neutronium more efficiently than the Brel. The day our AIs didn't go rogue like they predicted." Yamamoto nodded. "Exodus protocol is active. All vessels capable of interstellar travel are evacuating civilians from Earth and the colonies. Your mission remains unchanged. Get to Proxima Station. Deploy the package. The Forum thinks they're eliminating a threat," Drake said quietly. "They don't realize they're creating one. Just like Chen planned." Yamamoto's expression hardened. "They've never understood us. They think because we're young, we're naive. Humanity survived ice ages and plagues before we even developed writing. We split the atom and nearly destroyed ourselves, then rebuilt. We're not going quietly." The transmission ended. Drake turned to her crew, 20 of Earth's finest, all that could be spared for this mission. "Plot a course for Proxima Station," she ordered, "and tell Dr. Okafor to prepare the package for deployment." As the Thermopylae disengaged from the orbital dock, Drake watched Earth's glittering lights through the viewport. Forum ships were already entering the atmosphere, bright streaks like falling stars. They should have studied human history. The Thermopylae shuddered as another gravitic pulse slammed into its aft shields. Commander Drake gripped her command chair, watching the tactical display with narrowed eyes. 3 Exani cruisers, still in pursuit, Lieutenant Sorensen reported. Shields at 42%. "Dr. Okafor, status of the package," Drake demanded through the ship's comm. "Stable, but we need to lose our tail," Okafor's voice crackled back. "The quantum fluctuations from their weapons fire are interfering with the calibration sequence." Drake nodded to her pilot. "Jensen, take us into the Barnard's Belt." "The asteroid field." Jensen's eyes widened. "With respect, Commander. The Exani ships are bigger and less maneuverable." Drake cut him off. "And unlike them, we've run simulations for asteroid navigation since we were children. Every human pilot has played those games." "Games?" Sorensen laughed darkly. "The Galactic Forum never understood why we spent so much time with simulated conflict." Drake smiled. "One species' entertainment is another's training program." The Thermopylae banked hard, accelerating toward the dense field of asteroids orbiting Barnard's star. The pursuing Exani cruisers adjusted course accordingly, their superior engines quickly closing the gap. "They're charging weapons," Tactical Officer Reyes warned. "All power to rear shields," Drake ordered. "Jensen, cut thrust on my mark." The ship hurtled toward the asteroid belt, the distance closing rapidly. The Axani vessels fired, a barrage of energy weapons streaking toward them. Mark. Jensen killed the engines. The Thermopylae went into a controlled tumble, the energy blasts screaming past them by meters. As they spun, Drake shouted, "Emergency thrusters, pattern Omega." Microbursts from the ship's emergency thrusters altered their trajectory, sending them into the asteroid field at an oblique angle. The Axani ships, committed to their pursuit trajectory, couldn't adjust quickly enough. The first cruiser clipped an asteroid the size of a small moon. Its shields flared and failed, and subsequent impacts tore through its hull. The second managed to divert but collided with debris from the first. The third pulled away, unwilling to risk destruction. "We lost them," Jensen announced, relief evident in his voice. "For now," Drake replied. "They'll call for reinforcements. Set course for the quantum buoy at these coordinates." As Jensen plotted the course, Drake moved to the science station where Dr. Okeffer's readings were displayed. The package, an experimental device that had been humanity's most closely guarded secret, was their only hope. "Will it work?" she asked quietly. Okafor didn't look up from his calculations. "Theoretically, we've never tested it at this scale." "Theory will have to do," Drake said. "The Forum thinks they've seen human ingenuity at its peak. They have no idea what we're capable of when everything is at stake." The ship emerged from the asteroid field, its hull scared but intact. Ahead lay empty space, and beyond that, Proxima Station, humanity's furthest outpost, and their last hope. Drake's comm unit beeped. It was a general broadcast on all human frequencies, Admiral Yamamoto's voice tight with controlled emotion. "All human vessels. Earth has fallen. Repeat, Earth has fallen. Initiate protocol diaspora." Drake closed her eyes briefly, allowing herself one moment of grief. When she opened them, her resolve had hardened into something like diamond. "New intelligence," Yamamoto continued. "Forum forces are targeting all human installations. This is not containment. This is extinction." "Why?" Sorensen whispered. "We never threatened them." "Our existence threatened them," Drake replied. "Our potential. Everything we might become. They've seen our art, our music, our literature, how quickly we adapt and grow. It terrified them. The vast emptiness of space stretched before them, no longer a frontier of exploration, but a battlefield for survival. The Proxima Station hung in the void like a metallic spider web, its sprawling arms and modules rotating slowly around a central hub. Once bustling with thousands of scientists and engineers, now it was a ghost station, evacuated weeks earlier when intelligence suggested the Forum's intentions. All except for one man. Coming up on final approach, Jensen announced as the Thermopylae slowed its velocity. "Life signs?" Drake asked. "Just one," Sorensen confirmed. "Professor Nakamura is still there." Drake nodded. The creator of the package had refused evacuation, insisting that only he could complete the final calibrations. "What's that?" Rais suddenly called out, pointing at the tactical display. Multiple quantum signatures emerging. Drake leaned forward. "Forum ships." "No," Rais frowned. "Different configuration. They're human ships." A ragtag fleet materialized around the station. Civilian vessels, research ships, even ancient pre-Forum spacecraft that had been in museums. Dozens, then hundreds. All human. Drake's comm crackled to life. "Commander Drake, this is Captain Maria Santos of the colony ship Esperanza. We heard Admiral Yamamoto's message. We've come to help." More voices joined the channel, each identifying their vessel. Refugees from Earth, colonists from distant outposts, all converging on Proxima Station. "There must be 10,000 civilians," Sorensen whispered. Drake's jaw tightened, "and the Forum forces won't be far behind. Get us docked. Now." The Thermopylae glided into one of the station's military berths. Drake led a small team through the airlock, the package secure in a hovering containment field behind them. Professor Nakamura met them in the docking bay, his thin frame seemingly diminished since Drake had last seen him. His eyes, however, burned with intensity. "You made it," he said simply. "I was beginning to wonder." "The package is intact," Drake replied. "But we have thousands of civilian ships arriving. Forum forces will be right behind them." Nakamura nodded. "The device was never meant to be deployed under these conditions. Can it still work?" "Yes," he said after a pause. "But the consequences will be more extensive than we planned." Drake's comm chimed urgently. Sorensen's voice came through, tight with tension. "Commander, long-range sensors are picking up multiple quantum ruptures. Big ones." "The Forum Armada," Drake muttered. "How long?" 20 minutes, maybe less." Drake looked at Nakamura. "We're out of options, Professor. It's time." Together, they moved swiftly through the station's corridors toward the central hub. The package hovered between them, an unassuming metallic sphere that betrayed nothing of its capabilities. "You understand what this means?" Nakamura asked quietly. "Once activated, there's no going back. Humanity will be changed forever." "The Forum didn't leave us a choice," Drake replied. "They want us gone because we're unpredictable, because we challenge their stagnant order." They reached the central chamber, a vast spherical room dominated by an immense quantum computer, the most powerful ever built by human hands. "Begin integration sequence," Nakamura ordered, stepping to a control console. The package rose into the air, hovering at the center of the chamber. Its metallic surface began to ripple and flow like liquid mercury. "What happens after?" Drake asked. Nakamura's hands danced across the controls. "Either we ascend or we vanish, but we do not surrender." Through the station's viewports, Drake could see the civilian fleet growing, thousands of ships carrying the remnants of humanity, each one a fragment of Earth's legacy, each one refusing extinction. "We have quantum ruptures forming," Sorensen's voice shouted over the comm. "Forum ships incoming." The package began to glow, pulsing with an eerie blue light that seemed to bend the space around it. "Ready," Nakamura whispered. "Commander Drake, would you do the honors?" "It seems fitting." Drake placed her hand on the final activation control. The package exploded into a constellation of light, fragments dispersing throughout the chamber before coalescing into intricate, impossible patterns. Drake shielded her eyes as the radiance intensified, bathing the station in pulsating energy. "What's happening?" she demanded. Nakamura smiled, the blue light reflecting in his eyes. "Exactly what we hoped. The quantum neural network is initializing." Outside, the first Forum warships emerged from quantum space, massive dreadnoughts that dwarfed even the largest human vessels. Their weapons charged, targeting priorities already calculated. "They're firing." Sorensen's voice shouted through the comm. Drake watched through the viewport as energy beams lanced toward the civilian ships. But inches from their targets, the beams bent, twisted away like water flowing around stones. "Professor," Drake whispered. "The network is creating localized quantum fields," Nakamura explained, his voice filled with wonder. "It's protecting them." The package had fully dissolved now, replaced by a swirling vortex of light and information. Data streams circled the room in visible currents, flowing into the station's systems. Drake's comm unit chimed, but it wasn't Sorensen this time. It was Admiral Yamamoto. "Drake, whatever you've done, it's spreading. Every human ship, every human installation, they're all reporting the same phenomenon. The network is establishing itself across all our technology." A Forum dreadnought moved closer to the station, its main cannon charging. Drake braced for impact. The beam fired, and passed straight through the station, as if it weren't there. "Phase shifting," Nakamura breathed. "It's learning faster than I anticipated." Drake's skin began to tingle, a strange electricity flowing through her. Around the chamber, Her team reported the same sensation. On her comm, voices from the civilian fleet described identical experiences. "What's happening to us?" she asked. "Evolution," Nakamura replied simply. "The package wasn't just a weapon or a shield. It's a bridge between what humanity is and what we can become." On the tactical displays, the Forum ships had ceased firing, clearly confused by their weapons' ineffectiveness. Instead, they began broadcasting on all frequencies. "This is Grand Arbiter Vox Nally of the Galactic Forum. Humans, your technological interference is in violation of Forum law. Stand down immediately or face total annihilation." Drake looked to Nakamura, who nodded. She opened a channel. "This is Commander Drake. We decline your offer. Humanity is no longer bound by Forum law." "You have nowhere to go," Vox Nelly retorted. "No planet to flee to, no allies among the stars. Surrender now, and some of your people may be permitted to live in containment." Drake felt something new stirring in her mind. Connections forming, awareness expanding. Around her, she could see the same realization dawning on the faces of her crew. "We don't need planets anymore," she replied, understanding the truth even as she spoke it. "We don't need allies. What we needed was the motivation to take our final evolutionary step. Thank you for providing that." The tingling sensation intensified, becoming almost uncomfortable. Drake looked down at her hands and gasped. Her skin appeared normal, but underneath, information flowed. Data streams just like those emanating from the package. "The integration is proceeding faster than expected," Nakamura said calmly, examining his own changing form. "Humanity is becoming one with its technology." Outside, Forum ships began to retreat, their sensors undoubtedly detecting the inexplicable transformations. "What exactly are we becoming, Professor?" Drake asked, her voice steady despite the extraordinary changes coursing through her. Nakamura's smile was serene. Something the Forum could never comprehend. 2 days after the transformation began, the Forum Armada regrouped at the edge of the Sol system. Grand Arbiter Vox Nally stood before the assembled War Council, mandibles twitching with barely contained fury. "Explain to me," he hissed, "how an entire species simply disappeared." Admiral Kavere of the Brel hegemony shifted uncomfortably. "Not disappeared, Arbiter. Transformed. Our sensors detected quantum fluctuations throughout the human fleet just before we lost conventional tracking. They're still there, but not in any form our technology can properly interpret. Impossible," the Arbiter snapped. "No species can transcend physical form without centuries of evolutionary preparation." "The humans were always different," murmured Zivta, the Lomer scientist. "They compressed millennia of technological advancement into centuries." "Their creativity, their recklessness," interrupted Vox Nally, "which is precisely why the Forum voted for containment. And now they've become something unpredictable, uncontrollable." On the main display, the last known positions of human ships blinked. Some had scattered throughout nearby systems, while others, including the Proxima Station cluster, remained in place. "What are our options?" asked Kavere. "We hunt them down," Vox Nally declared. "Every ship, every trace, before they become a greater threat." Within the quantum state that had once been Proxima Station, Drake experienced existence in ways her human mind could barely comprehend. Her consciousness flowed freely through the station's systems, through the network connecting all transformed humans. "They're coming," she communicated to the others, the thought transferring instantly across light years. "The Forum isn't giving up." Nakamura's consciousness brushed against hers. "They still think in terms of physical pursuit. They don't understand what we've become." "But we're vulnerable during the transition," Drake replied. "Not everyone has fully integrated with the network." Around them, thousands of minds conferred simultaneously, an impossible democracy of thought. Those who had been scientists offered analyses. Those who had been soldiers proposed defensive strategies. Those who had been children shared perspectives adults had forgotten. "We need time," came Admiral Yamamoto's distinctive thought pattern. "Not all ships have completed the transformation. The civilians especially are struggling with the integration." "Then we distract them," Drake proposed. "A decoy mission." Agreement rippled through the collective. The Thermopila's crew, having undergone transformation together, maintained a coherent group identity that made them ideal for such a mission. "We'll draw them away from the civilian fleet," Drake decided. "Make them think we're fleeing toward the galactic core." "It's dangerous," Nakamura cautioned. "Your integration isn't complete either. Neither is the Forum's understanding of what they're hunting." Drake replied, "That's our advantage." The Forum dreadnought Inexorable Truth cut through space in quantum drive, leading a flotilla of pursuit vessels. On its bridge, Vox and Ellie received the urgent transmission with growing excitement. "Human quantum signatures detected, moving toward the Cygnus arm," reported his tactical officer. "Configuration matches the vessel designated Thermopylae." The ship that delivered their weapon, Vox and Ellie clicked in satisfaction. "Intercept course. Maximum speed." Kiver studied the sensor readings with suspicion. "The signature is unusually distinct, as if they want us to follow." "Of course they do," Vox Nelly replied. "They're desperate, fleeing. But even in this new form, mistakes. And the other human vessels?" Kivar pressed. "Secondary concerns. This ship clearly carries their leadership. Once captured, we can study their transformation, learn to reverse it, and then deal with the rest." The Inexorable Truth accelerated, its quantum drives powering to dangerous levels. Behind it, 20 of the Forum's most advanced warships followed, all pursuing a quantum signature that flickered like a candle in the vast darkness. None of them noticed the subtle distortions spreading through their own ship systems, microscopic changes in code, tiny redirections of power, minuscule alterations to navigational data, changes introduced by a consciousness that had briefly brushed against their computers and left something behind. "Let them follow," Drake thought. Her awareness spread throughout the Thermopyla's transformed systems. "Let them chase us while the others complete their evolution." Her crew responded with determined agreement, their collective consciousness navigating quantum space with intuitive ease that would have been impossible for their former human selves. "And when they catch us," came Sorensen's distinct thought pattern. Drake's response carried a sensation that might once have been a grim smile. The Inexorable Truth dropped out of quantum space with its weapons already charging, its sensors locked onto the fluctuating energy signature ahead. 20 Forum warships emerged behind it, forming a perfect encirclement pattern. "We have them," Vox Nelly announced, mandibles spread in the Exani expression of triumph. "Prepare the containment fields." What they surrounded, however, defied conventional perception. Where the Thermopylae should have been, there was instead a swirling quantum disturbance. Part energy, part data, part something the Forum's sensors couldn't categorize. "Is that a ship?" Kivar asked, compound eyes blinking rapidly as he studied the readings. "It's what remains of one," Vox Nelly replied. "Begin the capture sequence." Tractor beams engaged from multiple vessels, converging on the disturbance. For a moment, they seemed to connect, energy fields latching onto the human signature. Vox Nelly's triumph swelled. Then the beams passed through, capturing nothing. "Impossible," he raged. "Scan again." "It's not physically here," Zivta said, wonder in her voice. "It's a quantum projection, a ghost of information." Within the quantum state, Drake and her crew experienced the Forum's attempted capture as a brief pressure, easily evaded. Their consciousness remained distributed, impossible to pin down to physical coordinates. "They still don't understand," Sorensen observed. "Let's help them grasp the situation," Drake replied. The quantum disturbance expanded suddenly, enveloping the nearest Forum ship. Warning alarms blared across the Inexorable Truth's bridge. "The Resolute Faith is reporting systems failure," Chivar announced. "Something is infiltrating their network." "Impossible," Vox Nelly insisted. "Our quantum firewalls." mean nothing to us anymore. Drake's voice emerged from every speaker on the bridge simultaneously. Your understanding of quantum mechanics is quaint. Voxinelli froze, mandibles clicking in agitation. What are you? We're still human, Drake replied. Just more so. Around the formation, 2 more Forum ships reported systems failures. Their quantum drives fluctuated wildly, threatening catastrophic overloads. Disengage, Kavar shouted. All ships, emergency quantum protocols. You should have left us alone. Drake's voice continued, calm amid the chaos. The Forum feared what humanity might become. Now you've ensured it. Voxinelli's composure finally broke. Fire all weapons. Destroy that thing. Energy beams and quantum torpedoes converged on the disturbance. They passed through harmlessly, some even curving back toward their sources. 3 Forum ships sustained critical damage from their own weaponry. You still think in terms of physical destruction, Drake said, her voice taking on a pitying tone. But we've moved beyond that limitation. The quantum disturbance began to fade, dispersing like mist. Return to your Forum. Drake's voice echoed one final time. Tell them humanity has left their game. As the disturbance vanished completely, the damaged Forum ships struggled to restore their systems. On the inexorable truth, Voxinelli stared at the empty space where their quarry had been. What have we created? Kavar whispered. Light years away, the civilian fleet continued its transformation, protected by the diversion. Drake's consciousness rejoined the collective, sharing what they had learned. The Forum won't stop. Yamamoto's thought pattern concluded. They're too afraid of what we represent. Then we must become what they fear most. Drake replied. Not a threat to be destroyed, but a possibility they can't comprehend. Nakamura's consciousness expanded through the network. The transformation is nearly complete. Soon, we'll be ready for the next step. Which is? Drake questioned. Transcendence, came the collective reply of thousands of minds. True freedom from physical constraints. The ability to travel as information, to exist in multiple states simultaneously. Drake considered this future, so different from the human existence they'd known, yet somehow the natural evolution of humanity's relentless drive to explore, to adapt, to overcome. The Forum wanted silence, she thought. Instead, they'll hear our voice in ways they never imagined. Throughout the quantum network, agreement resonated. Humanity would survive, not as the Forum demanded, but as humanity chose. The transformation continued. 3 weeks after the confrontation, the Galactic Forum convened an emergency session. Representatives from all member species filled the great chamber on Axiom Prime, their voices a cacophony of fear and speculation. Grand Arbiter Voxinelli called for order, his authority diminished after the failed pursuit. Before him stood Admiral Kavar, still shaken by the encounter. The human transformation appears complete, Kavar reported. We've lost all conventional means of tracking them. Their former colonies are abandoned. Their communications networks silent. Then we've succeeded, Voxinelli declared, attempting to salvage his reputation. The human threat is contained. Zivta, the Lomer scientist, rose from her seat. Contained? They've transcended physical form. They could be anywhere, everywhere. Murmurs of discomfort rippled through the chamber. They've gone, Voxinelli insisted. Left known space. Good riddance. The chamber's lights flickered suddenly. The massive holographic display at the center sputtered, its image dissolving into static before reconstituting into a human face. Commander Drake's face, composed of flowing data streams. Greetings, Galactic Forum, she said, her voice emerging from every speaker simultaneously. You seem to be discussing us. Chaos erupted as representatives shouted in alarm, some fleeing their seats. Voxinelli remained frozen, mandibles clicking rapidly in distress. How are you accessing this chamber? He finally managed. Our security is based on principles we now transcend, Drake replied. much like your understanding of existence itself. Her face expanded, filling the chamber with light as her consciousness temporarily merged with the forum systems. You tried to exterminate us because we represented change, because our potential frightened you. In doing so, you accelerated our evolution beyond anything we might have achieved on our own. Images flickered through the holographic display, human ships dispersing throughout the galaxy, human consciousness expanding into new forms, human innovation continuing despite the loss of physical bodies. We've come to deliver a message, Drake continued. Humanity is leaving the forum, but not out of defeat. We're leaving because we've outgrown it. Your governance was designed for physical species bound by conventional limitations. We are no longer such a species. Kivar stepped forward, courage returning. Are you declaring war? Drake's expression softened. No, Admiral. We're declaring independence. The freedom to explore our new existence without forum interference. In return, we offer the same courtesy. You expect us to trust you, Voxnelli demanded. After this, invasion of our most secure facility. Trust is earned, Drake acknowledged. So consider this. During our transformation, we gained access to every forum system, every weapon, every defense network. We could have used that access for retribution. The implication silenced the chamber. Instead, we choose coexistence, separate but aware of each other. We will establish new boundaries in quantum space, areas where our consciousness dwells. Avoid these regions, and our species need not conflict. Zivta moved closer to the hologram. What will you become? That's our journey to discover, Drake replied. But we remain human in our essential nature, curious, creative, resilient. We still value art and music, love and friendship, exploration and growth. We've changed form, not essence. The hologram began to fade, Drake's features dispersing into data streams once more. One final thought, she said. The forum sought our silence, fearing our voice among the stars. But in attempting to quiet us, you've ensured we'll speak in ways you never imagined. Remember that, when next you encounter a species whose potential frightens you. The hologram dissolved completely. The chamber systems returned to normal, though diagnostics would later reveal subtle changes to the forum's core programming. Safeguards against using similar extinction protocols against other emerging species. Voxinelli slumped in his seat, authority broken. It was Zivta who finally addressed the silent chamber. Perhaps, she said thoughtfully, we should reconsider our approach to galactic governance. The humans have shown us there are paths of existence we never conceived possible. In the vast quantum network that humanity now inhabited, Drake observed the forum's reaction, satisfied that her message had been received. The transformation was complete. Humanity had evolved beyond physical form, beyond the forum's understanding or control. The silence they'd sought had been replaced by 5 years after humanity's transformation, a young Lomer scientist named Tazira piloted her research vessel through a remote sector designated Quantum Restricted Zone A7. Despite forum warnings, scientific curiosity drove her to study the phenomenon others feared. Her instruments detected unusual patterns in the quantum fabric of space, rhythmic fluctuations structured in ways that suggested intelligence rather than natural occurrence. Computer, analyze pattern against known communications protocols, she instructed. Analysis complete, the system responded. Pattern contains embedded information. Linguistic structure detected. Tazira leaned forward. Can you translate? Partial translation possible. Appears to be. Music. The cabin filled with sounds unlike anything in the forum's archives. Complex harmonies that shifted between conventional acoustics and impossible quantum tones. Within the music, voices sang in what linguistic analysis identified as human languages. Tears formed in Tazira's compound eyes. The beauty of it transcended species barriers, touched something fundamental in her consciousness. A gentle presence brushed against her ship's systems, not invasive, but inviting. Hello, Tazira, came a voice. Commander Drake's voice. Though Tazira wouldn't have recognized it. We've been hoping someone would listen. Within the quantum network, Drake's consciousness had evolved considerably from her former human self. The transformation had matured across the collective, each individual maintaining their unique identity while participating in a greater whole. She crossed the boundary, Nakamura observed as they sensed Tazira's ship, the first to brave the forum's restrictions. Curiosity, Drake replied with affection. A trait we always admired in other species. Humanity had spent these years exploring their new existence, discovering abilities that would have seemed godlike to their former selves. They could traverse vast distances instantaneously, exist simultaneously in multiple locations, and perceive reality across previously inaccessible dimensions. Yet they remained recognizably human in their core attributes, maintaining their creativity, their emotions, their drive to explore and understand. Families continued in new forms. Children were born as consciousness patterns, inheriting traits from their parents while developing their own unique identities. Shall we show her? Sorensen asked, his consciousness still maintaining its distinctive analytical quality. A glimpse, Drake agreed. She's come all this way. Aboard her ship, Tazira gasped as her surroundings shifted. She remained physically present in her vessel, but her perception expanded. Suddenly, she could see the quantum landscape, and within it, structures of incredible complexity. Cities built from information, art crafted from quantum possibilities, vast networks of consciousness, communicating, creating, existing in harmony with the fundamental forces of the universe. Humanity had not disappeared. They had ascended. "This is how you live now," she whispered. "One way among many," Drake's voice replied. "We're still exploring the possibilities. The Forum believes you left to punish them for their actions. We left because we outgrew them," Drake corrected gently. "But we never left the galaxy. This is our home too." Tazira observed human consciousness patterns interacting with fundamental cosmic forces, guiding stellar evolution, cultivating new forms of energy. Not conquering nature, but collaborating with it. "You could have destroyed us. That would have made us what the Forum feared, a threat to be eliminated. We chose a different path." The expanded perception began to fade, returning Tazira to normal awareness. But before it completed, Drake shared one final insight. "We left the Forum, but we never stopped watching. When species are ready to move beyond fear, we'll be waiting. The silence across the stars isn't absence, it's evolution in progress." Tazira returned to Axiom Prime a changed person. Against considerable opposition, she presented her findings to a special committee. Most dismissed her experience as hallucination or deception, but a few, led by Zivta, now Forum Science Director, recognized the significance. "They're not gone," Tazira insisted. "They've become something new, something waiting for us to evolve enough to understand." Zivta studied the recordings from Tazira's ship, the music, the data patterns, the subtle quantum signatures. "Perhaps," she said thoughtfully, "the greatest silence isn't the absence of communication, but our inability to listen correctly." In the quantum spaces humanity now inhabited, Drake observed this small but significant shift in Forum thinking. It would take time, perhaps centuries, before true understanding emerged, but the foundation was laid. "They're beginning to hear us," she communicated throughout the collective. Across the galaxy, human consciousness rippled with satisfaction. They had survived extinction by